Let me tell you about the day I became the galaxy's most wanted man. And no, it wasn't because of my devastating good looks or my ability to make alien women swoon. Though, spoiler alert, that second part becomes relevant later. My name is Jake Morrison, and according to Earth Intelligence, I'm their top field operative. According to literally everyone else who's ever met me, I'm the guy who once got stuck in a revolving door for 20 minutes. But hey, Earth standards have really dropped since the whole making contact with 73 alien species thing happened. Commander Brick, and yes, that's his real name, slammed a holographic dossier onto my desk with all the subtlety of a meteor impact. Morrison, we've got a situation that requires your unique skill set. I leaned back in my chair, trying to look suave. The chair immediately tipped backward, sending me flailing. You mean my incredible ability to blend into any crowd? I mean your incredible ability to screw things up so spectacularly that nobody sees it coming. Brick's expression could have curdled milk from 3 star systems away. The Galactic Peace Summit is happening next week on Harmony Station. Every major species will be there, including Princess Zara of the Crystalline Empire. He activated the hologram, and suddenly I was staring at what intelligence claimed was the most dangerous woman in the galaxy. According to the file, Princess Zara was a master manipulator, a strategic genius and potentially planning to use the peace talks as cover for a massive invasion of Earth. According to the photo, she was also absolutely gorgeous, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the official threat assessment. Your mission, Brick continued, is to infiltrate the summit, get close to the princess, and gather evidence of her invasion plans. Think you can handle that without starting an intergalactic incident? I stood up, straightening my jacket with what I hoped was confidence. Commander, when have I ever started an intergalactic incident? Tuesday. Dar. That was a misunderstanding. You declared war on the Andorian collective because you thought their ambassador was insulting your mother. He was speaking Andorian. It sounded hostile. Brick handed me a briefcase full of what he generously called state-of-the-art spy equipment. I opened it to find a collection of gadgets that looked like they'd been designed by someone who'd only heard about technology secondhand. Invisible ink pen, he explained, pointing to what looked like a regular pen. Except the ink is so invisible, you can't see what you're writing. Isn't that just a broken pen? Micro camera disguised as a button. He held up a button that was roughly the size of a dinner plate, completely undetectable. I picked up what appeared to be a wristwatch made of solid lead. And this? Me? Translation device. Automatically converts any alien language into English. Does it work? Well, it converts everything into English. Whether it's accurate English is debatable. I strapped on the watch, and it immediately started speaking in what sounded like a Shakespearean robot having a stroke. Greetings, flesh-based carbon unit. Your wrist meat appears adequately moist today. Turn it off. Turn it off. I can't. The off switch is in the back, and it's voice activated. What's the voice command? We don't know. It's in crystalline. This was going to be a long mission. 3 days later, I was floating in space, watching Harmony Station grow larger through the viewport of my supposedly stealthy infiltration pod. The station looked like someone had taken a luxury cruise ship and crossed it with a space cathedral, then added enough defensive weapons to level a small moon. You know, typical diplomatic venue. My plan was simple: dock at the service entrance, blend in with the maintenance crew, and work my way up to the diplomatic levels. What could go wrong? Everything. Everything could go wrong. First, my stealth pod turned out to be about as subtle as a neon sign in a monastery. The thing had more blinking lights than a Christmas tree, and it kept broadcasting Earth intelligence vessel in 17 different languages, including apparently interpretive dance because several alien ships started moving in very concerning patterns. Then there was the docking procedure. I'd studied the manual, practiced on the simulator, and even watched a helpful video called Docking for Dummies. None of which prepared me for the moment when the docking clamps engaged and my pod started spinning like a washing machine full of angry cats. By the time I stumbled out of the airlock, I looked like I'd been through a blender. My carefully planned maintenance worker disguise, which had taken weeks to perfect, was now a wrinkled mess that screamed definitely not supposed to be here. "Identification, please," said the security guard, who appeared to be some kind of purple, six-armed crustacean wearing a very official-looking hat. I fumbled for my fake ID, which naturally chose that moment to fall apart in my hands. "I'm Steve. Steve, maintenance guy." "Steve, maintenance guy?" It's a very common Earth name. The guard's 6 eyes narrowed suspiciously, but before he could ask more questions, my translation watch decided to helpfully chime in. "Attention, crab person. This human shape wishes to perform illegal activities upon your shiny station." "That's not what I said." "Correction. This human shape wishes to perform illegal activities upon your shiny station while sweating profusely." I was tackled by 3 security guards, strip-searched, questioned for 2 hours, and finally released when they decided I was too incompetent to be a real threat. Which, honestly, was probably accurate. By the time I made it to the diplomatic levels, the welcoming reception was already in full swing. Through the massive crystal windows, I could see representatives from dozens of species mingling in the grand ballroom. There were creatures that looked like walking trees, others that resembled living gemstones, and at least 3 that I was pretty sure were just clouds with attitude. And then I saw her. Princess Zara stood near the center of the room, and she was nothing like her intelligence photo. Where the file had suggested cold calculation, I saw warmth. Where it had described manipulation, I saw genuine engagement as she listened to a small, furry diplomat explaining something with great enthusiasm. Her crystalline skin caught the light like a prism, and when she laughed at something the furry creature said, the sound was like silver bells. I was so busy staring that I didn't notice the waiter approaching with a tray of drinks. "Refreshment, sir?" the waiter asked. "Sure, thanks," I said, still staring at the princess. I reached for a glass without looking and instead grabbed what turned out to be some kind of alien fruit that immediately exploded, covering me in purple juice that smelled like expired gym socks. The entire ballroom went silent. Every single alien in the room turned to stare at me, dripping purple and standing in the doorway like the galaxy's most incompetent party crasher. Princess Zara looked directly at me, and for a moment our eyes met across the crowded room. She smiled, and I swear I felt my heart skip several beats. Then she started walking toward me, and I panicked. I turned to run and promptly walked straight into a pillar that was apparently made of some kind of force field. The impact sent me sprawling backward, where I landed in a decorative fountain that was apparently home to several small, very angry fish-like creatures. By the time I emerged, soaking wet and covered in purple juice and alien fish, Princess Zara was standing at the edge of the fountain, looking down at me with an expression of amused curiosity. "You know," she said, her voice carrying the faintest hint of an accent that made my knees weak. Most people just introduce themselves. "I'm Jake," I managed to say while simultaneously trying to fish an alien minnow out of my ear. "Jake Morrison. I'm here with the Earth delegation." Princess Zara extended a hand to help me out of the fountain, and the moment our fingers touched, I felt something that definitely wasn't in the spy manual. It was like touching a live wire, except instead of pain, it was warmth that spread all the way up my arm and straight to my brain, which promptly forgot how to form coherent sentences. "Earth delegation?" she said, pulling me to my feet with surprising strength. "How interesting. I wasn't aware Earth was sending anyone to the Cultural Appreciation Mixer." "Cultural Appreciation Mixer?" "This party. It's specifically for learning about different species' art forms and social customs." She gestured around the room, where I now noticed aliens were indeed sharing what appeared to be poetry, music, and interpretive dance. "Are you here to share Earth culture, Jake Morrison?" I opened my mouth to recite my cover story, but what came out instead was, "I'm here to spy on you." She blinked. I blinked. The alien fish in my pocket started making angry chirping sounds. I said quickly, "I'm here to supply on you. Supply you with cultural spying appreciation. Cultural appreciation. That's what I meant." Princess Zara's smile widened, and I realized she had the most beautiful eyes I'd ever seen. They were like looking into cut crystal, but warm like sunlight through a prism. How refreshing. Most spies at least wait until the second conversation before admitting what they're doing. Most spies? Oh, Mien. There are at least 6 others at this party alone. The Zentorian in the corner has been taking pictures of the catering spread for the last hour. The delegate from Proxima keeps asking everyone about our defensive capabilities. And that charming gentleman by the punch bowl has been trying to plant listening devices in the floral arrangements. I looked around the room with new eyes and suddenly realized she was right. Now that I knew what to look for, the place was crawling with obvious intelligence operatives. And you're okay with this? Darling, I'm a princess. I've been dealing with spies since I was 12. At least you're honest about it. She took my arm and I had to concentrate very hard on not swooning. Now, would you like to tell me why Earth intelligence thinks I'm planning to invade your planet? We walked together through the party, and I found myself telling her everything. About the mission briefing, about the intelligence reports, about my spectacular failure at infiltration. She listened with genuine interest, occasionally asking questions that made me realize how little I actually knew about the situation. "The thing is," I said, as we settled into a quiet alcove overlooking the stars, "you're nothing like they said you'd be." "What did they say I'd be like?" "Cold, calculating, manipulative. Someone who'd use peace talks as cover for planning an invasion." Princess Zara was quiet for a moment, her expression growing serious. "And what do you think now?" I looked at her, really looked at her. The way she'd listened to every alien who'd approached her tonight. The way she'd helped me out of the fountain without a second thought. The way she'd treated my bumbling confession with humor instead of anger. "I think," I said slowly, "that someone's been feeding Earth intelligence some very bad information." She nodded, her expression growing even more serious. "Jake, can I trust you with something?" "Probably not. I'm literally a spy sent to gather information about you." "Yes, but you're a terrible spy." "Hey." "No." "It's a compliment. Terrible spies are much more trustworthy than good ones." She leaned closer, and I caught a scent like winter air and starlight. "Someone has been trying to kill me." "What? What?" "What? 3 assassination attempts in the last month, all made to look like accidents. My security team thinks it's connected to the Peace Summit." I stared at her. "But why would anyone want to kill you? You're working for peace between the species." "Exactly. And there are people who profit from conflict, Jake. People who would lose a great deal if the galaxy actually achieved lasting peace." The pieces started clicking together in my mind. "Earth intelligence said you were planning an invasion. Did they provide any evidence?" I thought back to the briefing. They said they had reliable sources who might benefit from Earth believing the Crystalline Empire was a threat. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "You think this is a setup?" "I think," Princess Zara said softly, "that you and I have been played by the same people." She was sitting so close now that I could see the flecks of silver in her crystal blue eyes. Despite everything, despite the conspiracy and the danger and the fact that I was probably about to become a fugitive from my own government, all I could think about was how badly I wanted to kiss her. "This is insane," I whispered. "Which part? The conspiracy to prevent galactic peace, or the part where you're falling for the alien princess you were sent to spy on?" Both. Definitely both. She smiled, and it was like the sun coming out from behind clouds. It's good. Because I'm falling for the terrible spy who admitted his mission in the first 5 minutes. The next morning, I woke up in guest quarters that were fancier than any place I'd ever lived, but with a splitting headache and the distinct feeling that my life had just become exponentially more complicated. My communication device was blinking with an urgent message from Commander Brick. I activated it, and his scowling face appeared in holographic form, looking even more irritated than usual. Morrison, what's your status? Have you made contact with the target? Yes, sir. I've made contact. Excellent. What's your assessment of the invasion plans? I opened my mouth to give my report, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I found myself thinking about Princess Zara's laugh, the way she'd trusted me with her fears, the warmth in her eyes when she'd said she was falling for me. Morrison? Are you there? Yes, sir, I'm here. About the invasion plans. What about them? I don't think they exist. The silence that followed was so complete I could hear my own heartbeat. When Brick finally spoke, his voice was dangerously quiet. Excuse me? Sir, I've spent time with Princess Zara, and she's not planning any invasion. She's genuinely working for peace. Someone's been feeding us false intelligence. Morrison, are you compromised? Define compromised. Have you been romantically involved with the target? I thought about the way she'd looked at me when we'd said goodnight, the almost kiss that had been interrupted by her security detail, the way my pulse still quickened when I thought about her. Define romantically involved. Morrison. And? Okay, maybe a little. But that's not why I'm saying this. The intelligence is wrong, Commander. Someone's playing us. Brick's expression had gone from angry to something much more concerning. Jake, listen to me very carefully. You're suffering from a classic case of target fixation. It happens to the best of agents, but you need to remember your duty to Earth. What if my duty to Earth is to prevent a war based on lies? The intelligence comes from the highest levels of government, sources we've trusted for years. What sources? That's classified. Come on, Brick. Give me something. Who's telling us that Princess Zara is a threat? There was a pause, and when Brick spoke again, his tone was different. Less commanding, more worried. Jake, the intelligence is coming from Consortium Industries. I felt my blood run cold. Consortium Industries was one of Earth's largest defense contractors. They'd made trillions from the military buildup after first contact with alien species. If peace broke out. Brick, think about this. Who benefits if Earth goes to war with the Crystalline Empire? Jake, you're walking into conspiracy theory territory. What if it's not a theory? Before Brick could answer, my door chimed. I opened it to find Princess Zara standing there, her face pale with worry. Jake, we need to talk. Now. I ended the call with Brick and let her in. She immediately began pacing around my quarters like a caged animal. I just received word from my intelligence network, she said. There's going to be an attack on the Peace Summit tomorrow during the signing ceremony. What kind of attack? The kind designed to look like the Crystalline Empire is attacking Earth delegates. It'll be the excuse your military needs to declare war. I sank into a chair, the full scope of the conspiracy finally hitting me. They're going to false flag the summit. And when the smoke clears, I'll be dead, you'll be dead, and our two civilizations will be at war. She stopped pacing and looked at me. Jake, I need to know where you stand. What do you mean? I mean, are you going to report this conversation to your superiors, or are you going to help me stop it? It should have been an easy decision. I was an Earth intelligence operative. My loyalty was to my planet, my government, my species. But as I looked at Princess Zara, I realized that my loyalty was to something bigger than that. It was to the truth, to justice, to the idea that maybe, just maybe, different species could live together in peace. And okay, maybe I was also completely head over heels in love with her. "I'm in," I said. "But I should probably warn you, I'm not exactly known for my competence in high-stakes situations." She smiled, and despite everything, I felt my heart skip. "Jake, you're the most honest person I've met in years. That's worth more than competence." "You say that now, but wait until you see me try to defuse a bomb or something." "Please tell me you're not actually going to have to defuse a bomb." I looked at her. She looked at me. We both had the same thought at the same time. "I'm definitely going to have to defuse a bomb, aren't I?" I said. "No." "Almost certainly." "Great. Fantastic. This is exactly how I wanted to spend my week." But as I said it, I realized something. For the first time in my life, I was fighting for something that mattered. Not just following orders, not just doing my job, but actually standing up for what was right. Even if it meant becoming a traitor to my own species. Even if it meant probably dying in the process. Even if it meant facing the fact that I was in love with an alien princess who was way, way out of my league. This was going to be interesting. The Peace Summit's final ceremony was supposed to be a moment of hope for the galaxy. Representatives from 73 species gathered in Harmony Station's Grand Assembly Hall, ready to sign the Galactic Peace Accord. It was going to be beautiful, historic, and according to our intelligence, the perfect opportunity for a false flag operation that would start the biggest war in galactic history. No pressure. Princess Zara and I had spent the entire night planning. Well, she had spent the night planning. I had spent the night trying not to panic and occasionally contributing helpful observations like "that sounds dangerous, and are you sure I'm the right person for this?" Our plan was elegantly simple. I would use my Earth intelligence credentials to access the station's security systems and identify the saboteurs, while Princess Zara would work with her allies to evacuate civilians when the shooting started. What could go wrong? Everything. Everything could go wrong. The ceremony began with the traditional music of each species. 17 different forms of what could generously be called singing filled the air, creating a sound like a symphony of dying whales. It was beautiful, in a way that made your ears bleed. I was stationed at a security console, trying to look official while scrolling through surveillance feeds. My translation watch was mercifully quiet, but my palms were sweating so much I could barely operate the controls. "Anything?" Princess Zara's voice whispered through my earpiece. "Nothing yet," I whispered back. "Just a lot of very peaceful-looking aliens listening to music that sounds like." "Focus, Jake." "Right, focusing." That's when I saw them. 3 figures in Earth military uniforms, moving through the service corridors with the kind of purpose that definitely wasn't peaceful. They were carrying what looked like very large, very ominous briefcases. "Zara, I've got them. Service level, Section C, 3 humans with briefcases that are definitely not full of sandwiches. I'm mobilizing security. Can you get closer?" "Can I get closer to the heavily armed saboteurs?" "Sure, that sounds like a great idea." But I was already moving, because apparently falling in love with an alien princess makes you do stupid, heroic things. I managed to get within earshot just as the lead saboteur was talking into his communicator. "Package delivery in position. Ready to make the special delivery to the crystalline delegation on your mark." "Roger that. Detonation in T-5 minutes. Remember, it needs to look like the Crystalline Empire attacked first." I felt my blood freeze. They weren't just planning to disrupt the ceremony. They were planning to bomb the crystalline delegation and make it look like an internal power struggle. Princess Zara would be killed, Earth would blame the Crystalline Empire for the terrorist attack, and the war would begin. I activated my earpiece. Zara, they're going to bomb your delegation. You need to evacuate now. I can't. The ceremony is at a critical moment. If I leave now, it'll look suspicious. If you don't leave now, you'll be dead. Jake, can you stop them? I looked at the 3 heavily armed military operatives and their briefcases full of what was undoubtedly high-grade explosives. Then I looked at myself, one incompetent spy with a broken translation watch and a tendency to walk into things. Probably not, I said, but I'm going to try anyway. My plan was to create a distraction while secretly alerting station security. What actually happened was that I tripped over a maintenance cable, fell into a service panel, and accidentally triggered the fire suppression system for the entire level. Suddenly the corridor was filled with foam and flashing lights. The saboteurs started shouting and slipping on the wet floor. I took advantage of the chaos to tackle the nearest one, who turned out to be considerably more competent at hand-to-hand combat than I was. "Morrison," the saboteur said, recognizing me as I failed to put him in what I'd intended to be a sleeper hold. "What the hell are you doing here?" "Stopping you from starting a war," I gasped, while he effortlessly reversed our positions and put me in an actual sleeper hold. "You're supposed to be gathering intelligence on the princess." "Yeah, well, turns out she's not the bad guy." That's when Princess Zara arrived with half the station's security force. The saboteurs, covered in fire suppression foam and surrounded by heavily armed guards, had the good sense to surrender. "Jake." Zara rushed to my side as I sat up, rubbing my throat. "Are you hurt?" "Only my pride," I croaked, "and maybe my windpipe." She helped me to my feet, and for a moment we just stood there looking at each other. Around us, security was securing the bombs and arresting the saboteurs. The immediate crisis was over. "So," I said, "I guess this means I'm officially a traitor to Earth now." "Technically, you're a traitor to the people who were trying to start an intergalactic war," she said. "That makes you a hero to everyone else." "Including you?" She smiled, and before I could lose my nerve, I kissed her. Right there in the foam-covered corridor, surrounded by alien security guards and defused bombs, I kissed the most beautiful woman in the galaxy. And she kissed me back. When we finally broke apart, I realized that every single security guard was staring at us with expressions ranging from amusement to bewilderment. Should we arrest him?" asked one of the guards uncertainly. Princess Zara looked at me, then at the guards. "No," she said firmly. "He's with me." 6 months later, I was standing in what used to be a maximum security Earth detention facility, and was now my surprisingly comfortable home away from home. The Crystalline Empire had negotiated my release in exchange for my testimony about the conspiracy, but Earth still considered me a fugitive. Which meant I got to live in exile on Harmony Station, working as Princess Zara's cultural liaison. It was a tough job, but somebody had to do it. "Jake," Zara called from the other room, "the wedding planner is here, and she's asking about the menu again. Tell her I still don't know what Zentorian food is supposed to taste like. She says you need to know because you're human and you'll be eating it." "Right. Good point." I walked into the main room of our shared quarters, where Princess Zara was sitting across from a 6-foot-tall insect creature wearing what appeared to be a very fancy hat. Planning an interspecies wedding, it turned out, was significantly more complicated than planning a regular wedding. "Mr. Morrison." The wedding planner clicked in what my translation watch assured me was a cheerful tone. "We need to discuss the ceremony music. Princess Zara has requested the traditional crystalline harmony crystals, but we need to make sure the frequency won't cause permanent hearing damage to the human guests." "How many human guests are we expecting?" I asked. "Well, there's you," Zara said. "And actually, that's it." Earth is still officially not speaking to you. Right. So we're worried about the frequency causing permanent hearing damage to one person. It's the principle of the thing, the wedding planner said firmly. This was my life now. Debates about ceremonial music frequencies, discussions about whether the wedding cake should be made of sugar or crystallized methane, arguments about whether the ceremony should be held in standard gravity or 0G. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. You know, I said to Zara after the wedding planner left, when I signed up to be a spy, I thought the most dangerous thing I'd face would be getting shot at. And instead I'm about to marry an alien princess, become a permanent exile from my home planet, and spend the rest of my life navigating the politics of 73 different species. I paused. Also, I apparently have to learn to like food that might be made of methane. Zara smiled and moved closer to me on the couch. Having second thoughts? I looked at her, this amazing woman who had changed my entire life, who had shown me what it meant to fight for something bigger than yourself, who had somehow seen past my spectacular incompetence to find something worth loving. Not for a second, I said, and meant it. Good, she said, because I just received a message from Earth Intelligence. I felt my stomach drop. Please tell me it's not another assassination attempt. No, it's actually funnier than that. She showed me the message on her communicator. They're asking if I know the whereabouts of Agent Jake Morrison, because they have a new mission for him. I read the message and started laughing. They want to send me to spy on the Andromeda ambassador. Apparently they think he's planning to steal Earth's technology. And they want me, the guy who publicly defected and is now engaged to an alien princess, to go undercover. To be fair, you are their most experienced interspecies operative. I'm their only interspecies operative. Details. I was still laughing when the door chimed. Zara went to answer it, and I heard her talking to someone in the hallway. When she came back, she was trying very hard not to smile. Jake, there's someone here to see you. Says he's from Earth Intelligence. I looked at her suspiciously. Please tell me you didn't. I didn't do anything, but you might want to come see this. I walked to the door and found myself face to face with a young man who looked exactly like I had when I'd first been assigned to spy on Princess Zara. Nervous, overconfident, and carrying a briefcase that was obviously full of spy gadgets that probably didn't work. Agent Morrison? He said. I'm Agent Thompson. I've been sent to bring you in for debriefing about your mission. Kid, I said gently, my mission ended 6 months ago. I'm retired. Now. But sir, Earth Intelligence says you're still undercover. I looked back at Zara, who was now openly grinning. They really sent another one, didn't they? Apparently they think if they keep sending spies, eventually one of them will succeed. Agent Thompson, I said, turning back to the young spy, can I give you some advice? Sir? Whatever they told you about Princess Zara, it's wrong. She's not planning to invade Earth. She's not manipulating anyone. She's just trying to keep the peace. But sir, the intelligence reports are being fed to you by people who profit from conflict. I put a hand on his shoulder. Trust me on this one. I've been where you are. Agent Thompson looked confused, which was understandable. He'd probably been expecting a dramatic confrontation, not a heart-to-heart with a former spy who was now planning his wedding to the target. Sir, are you happy? I looked back at Zara, who was watching us with that smile that still made my heart skip beats. I thought about my new life, my new purpose, my new family among the stars. Kid, I said, I've never been happier in my life. Even though you're a fugitive? Even though I'm a fugitive. Agent Thompson stood there for a moment, processing this. Then he looked past me at Princess Zara, and I saw the exact same expression I'd had when I first saw her. wonder, attraction, and the dawning realization that maybe, just maybe, the mission wasn't what he'd thought it was. "Agent Thompson," I said, "would you like to stay for dinner? I think you and the princess should talk." And as I watched another Earth spy fall under the spell of Princess Zara's genuine kindness and beauty, I realized that maybe Earth intelligence was accidentally doing something right. They were sending spies to learn about peace, love, and the radical idea that maybe the galaxy was big enough for everyone. Even if they didn't know it yet. Even if it meant they'd keep losing agents to the other side. Even if it meant that someday, there might be a whole community of former Earth spies living happily ever after with their alien spouses, raising little half-human, half-alien children who would grow up knowing that love really could conquer all. That would be something to see. But for now, I was content to be Jake Morrison, former spy, current cultural liaison, and soon-to-be husband to the most amazing woman in the galaxy. And if that made me a traitor to Earth, well, at least I was a very happy traitor. The best kind, really.